Hi, I'm Gerald Mr. G. Mwandiambira, a certified financial planning professional, author, entrepreneur, and wealth manager. Finance is always a murky area in most people's lives, and that's why we're bringing you a show that will focus on real money conversations that you want to hear. We're taking you on a journey of wealth creation whilst inviting the experts to unlock all the money secrets. Monagent, ni pesa yangu, chelete yaka, imali yami, mali yangu, mi health, my money. We're here to talk to you about money. This week's Money Truths. Do you need an expert to manage and create wealth? We're having a conversation with two very special guests, Black Twitter Influencer of the Year, social commentator and medical doctor, Dr. Sindi Van Zyl, and wealth manager from Sugar Creek Wealth, Gugu Siziba. Welcome, ladies. And yes, we're talking about money and whether you need a financial planner. I'll start with you, Gugu. You are a so-called financial planning professional and wealth manager. Do people need help to look after their own money?
Yes, thank you, Gerald, for having me here. I would definitely say that people do need help when it comes to looking after their money. You know, you can look after your own money, but there are people who now have that profession, people who studied around looking after your money, people who've gone to school for them to help you and create wealth for you. So you realize at times you can look at magazines, you can read newspapers, you can see how you want to have your own financial plan. But do you actually just have the time to keep up with this every day? No. There's someone who is actually who has that skill to do that. But so you do need that.
But it's my money. Sindi, do you have a financial planner to help you? You run a practice and you do a lot of things. Do you need someone to help you?
Well, I used to have a financial planner, but not anymore. Hubby and I sat down about 4 years ago, and we decided that we didn't want to have a financial planner. I think that there were just too many things being thrown at me, too many products.
Okay.
And I was getting very confused. And the more confused I got, the more I asked him questions. And I was like, you know what, we're not going to do this. So we run our own things. We have a trust fund, 2 trusts, and we basically put everything into the trusts, and that's what we're doing at the moment. So.
Now, this trust fund, Sindi, surely you didn't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to start a trust fund. How did you go about setting up a trust fund?
Well, okay, so someone did help us. We had a lawyer helping us and a financial person helping us. But the biggest problem is with financial planners is that, they help you with the one thing, and there's something else that comes out and they want to show it to you. Then there's something else and there's something else, and that kind of gets annoying. So that bit was annoying.
Gugu, it sounds like she's talking more about salespeople.
Yes.
What's the difference between what you do and these people who come with goodies to Sindi's practice every day?
So what I'll say, Sindi, you need to realize there's a difference between a financial planner and a salesperson. A salesperson is the one that is pushing product on you. Today they're telling you about this thing that they have. Tomorrow they're telling you about this thing. We don't do that. We sit down with you. We look at your financial situation right now, and we look where you want to be in the future. And then from there, we have a financial plan for you. We are giving you a solution to get you where you need to be in the future. It's a long-term relationship between you and I. And I'm here to help you achieve your long-term goals with your money. So it's not about me pushing product. It's about me giving you advice. It's about your financial well-being at the end of the day.
Okay.
So like you say, you are a doctor. I'm also a financial doctor. So we're literally doctors, but I'm just your financial doctor. So you can take me there.
Okay, so you are a doctor who gets paid a lot more than maybe this kind of doctor. Now, Gugu, you're young.
Yes.
Why would I entrust my money affairs in a young person? Have you lived long enough? Do you know enough to help someone who's older? Or should young planners work with young people and old planners work with old people?
That's a good point, actually.
You know what? I was telling my other client the other day that if you look at me and I look like your daughter, then I'm definitely the right person for you. Reason why I'm saying that to you is because my parents are probably reaching their retirement age. If they have a financial planner who is in the same age group with them, that financial planner is also nearly reaching their retirement age. What then happens? You need help with your retirement, and usually the years prior retirement and after retirement are hard because you're trying to adjust your finances. You're trying to get your finances to cover you for the long term. This person is also trying to deal with his finances. I don't have to retire. I'm not retiring anytime soon. So we're working towards retirement together. I'm here as a young person, and I'm helping you go through the finance. You don't have the risk of someone telling you that, you know what, Gerald, I can't keep up with your finances. I'm moving you to a new planner because I'm also trying to retire at the same time with you. It also comes with, we're always on our phones, our tablets, our laptops.
So you're very busy. Now, but Sindi, before you were a mom, before you were a wife, surely you made financial mistakes. Don't you have hindsight to say, had I done this earlier on in my life, I'll be better off? And maybe should that not be enough justification for you to consider having a planner? And you said you had one before. What happened? What's the sad story, or what changed your mind? Besides the fact,
away.
Oh, he passed away, and that's a big reason. I mean,
He passed away, and since then, I mean, I've met quite a few financial planners. I'm not going to lie, but we haven't found anyone that we bonded with as much as we did with him. So this is a person that my husband and I both liked, right? And he passed away. Financial mistakes, yes, I've made a lot of mistakes. I think one of the reasons why we went to see a financial planner in the first place was because of my drama. And one of the biggest challenges in our marriage at the beginning was, before we got married, Umarinus wanted us to be married out of community of property. That was like, what are you know, why are we doing this? And then eventually he was like, no, it's not about divorcing, whatever it is. It's because you're a business. You don't see yourself as a business now because you're still a medical student, but one day you're going to be your own entity. And I didn't see it at the time, you know. So we saw a financial planner who explained this to me in layman's terms. This is not about, you know, preparing for divorce. This is because this was going to happen in the future. And here I am now. And I regret not making certain financial decisions back then. I'm not going to lie. I also wish that when I quit working for the government, if I had known that I mustn't cash out my pension, if I had known that I was going to end up opening my own practice, I'd have rather cashed out that money and kept it aside for now.
Now, Gugu, now in terms of you and financial planning, what is the view of your peers? So you're young, and your peers, do they respect you? Would they be willing to pay you a consultation fee like they would pay Dr. Sindi?
My friends don't pay consultation fees.
I think when it comes to financial planning, and my peers, people in my age group, they actually don't see the value added when they look at it. But they don't realize that it's actually very important for them to take it up. And when you sit down with them and you explain to them that, you know what, let's start it when we're young so that we avoid future problems.
Exactly.
It's going to be expensive when we get older. Let's start it when we're young. Let's start planning our finances now. When they realize, yes, when you're young, then they realize that, okay, we're getting somewhere. And they would actually pay me a consultation.
So would you help someone also who has a business? So Dr. Sindi has a practice. Do you also look at that kind of work?
Yes, we actually do look at that kind of work. We're talking with Dr. Sindi earlier on. She's telling me she has a partner and everything like that. We do look at insuring businesses so that they don't have problems in the future. Yes, we have where we actually, if you were to go somewhere, say Dr. Sindi, and you need someone who's going to be taking care of your business, running your practice, you can get insurance for that. So that a key person can come and take over for that period that you're not there, and they're going to be paid that same salary or that amount that you're getting. So we do insure businesses.
Okay, but isn't that the problem? Because you're already going the product direction. You're mentioning insurance, and you said you talk advice. When you are talking to someone about your business, what concerns you? Are you right now, have you ever been ill in your business?
Yeah, and also,
and what happened when you were not working?
So that is exactly my biggest issue, is that when I'm not working, I'm not earning, you know, and no one actually tells you this about GPs, that when they're not working, they're not earning. And now I know why people work like hamsters in a wheel, like they're always running and always working, because whenever you're not at work, like I'm not at work now, I'm not earning any income. My other concern is the amount of debts that I've incurred. You know, I just wish that when I was still at medical school, I wish someone had spoken to us about starting a practice, the pitfalls, you know, when you leave medical school, all the products that are thrown at you by the banks. If someone had warned us about all of that, I don't think I'd be on the back foot that I'm on now. I mean, I've only been a medical doctor I qualified when I was 30, and I'm 42 now. I've only been a doctor for 12 years. And a lot of that was spent in the government NGO space, and now I'm working for myself. It's been 2 years I've been working for myself. But I'm way behind my age mates, my peers, and not even age mates, my peers, only because of the bad financial decisions that I made. So I think what you guys need to do is start talking to us in first year medicine and not waiting until we qualify to start talking to us.
So we're having that real conversation. She wished that she had someone at varsity who just had that real money conversation at university. You studied financial planning, and did you expect what you have encountered now that you're practicing? Was that taught to you? Is this the reality you expected? What are the challenges you face? Because sometimes, you know, we need to hear it from you.
I do face challenges as well, though I did financial planning. But after school, you do face challenges. You want to take off in life. You start getting debt. You receive those calls. And I was explaining to her that most of the times you realize that it's in people's nature to take a call from the bank that's offering them credit, but it's hard for them to take a call from someone who wants to give them financial advice. So what she's saying, I actually definitely agree with her. That's something that as much as we were taught about it as well, you also need to be taught about it. At times when I know that I've got that financial background, and I'm getting this person who is bringing me and saying that, no, Google, take this credit card. I know the implications, and I know that, no, I'm not going to take it. That's something that she doesn't have. She has this credit card that she's just going to swipe. They don't have a limit to it. She's in the medical field. So definitely they're rating her. So she keeps swiping.
Yeah.
It's
So
different
she's got
with me.
the dark black
Yeah.
card,
Exactly.
the super black card.
And that is the problem.
So now, in your case, you're also very active on social media.
Yeah.
And I've seen on your threads, there's a lot of money talk. What are the top topics which come up so that we can maybe unpack them in the next segment and really understand what real people are conversating about when it comes to money?
You know, one of the things that people don't understand is how doctors charge patients. People don't understand why certain doctors charge this amount of money. Why is it so much? My savings are finished. How am I meant to pay 700 rand for a consultation? And the guilt that I feel as a doctor is that, oh no, we really shouldn't be charging patients money for them to see us. But my husband always counters that and says, if you continue to see patients for free, you're taking food out of our children's mouths. So for me, I need to understand what my value is. How do I place a value on the work that I do? Why is it important for me to keep charging patients? Why is it important for me to know what's happening with my finances? Why can't I just look the other way and say, I'm doing this for charity, I'm saving the world? That is what I struggle with.
Okay, so people struggle with value and ascertaining value.
Yeah.
Your value, Gugu, in terms of financial planning, what are the first steps you do when you meet a client, briefly?
The first steps we take when we meet a client, we literally have to create a relationship. It comes with me getting to know you, Cindy. I'm not going to just start and say, Cindy, this. No, I need to get to know you. I need to get to know where you are in life. We need to get to know each other. We need to create that relationship because this is not a once-off thing. It's a lifetime commitment between you and I. So from there, I then gather information about the person. I analyze the information, look at it. Where are they now with their finances? Where are they planning to go in their past experiences? From gathering the information, we do a financial plan for them.
Okay.
After we do that, we implement it, and then I present it to Cindy.
So essentially, you said you're the financial doctor,
Yes.
diagnose, find out what's wrong, and present the prescription.
And that's my prescription.
Okay.
So after I give you my prescription, where you decide to go buy your medicine, that's up to
another
you.
conversation.
Yes,
Okay.
but
so
I've just given you my
So that's
prescription.
financial planning in a nutshell, but we'll be unpacking more. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Gerald, Mr. G. Mwandiambira, and we still have Dr. Sindi Van Zyl and Wealth Manager Gugu Siziba in studio. And we've been having this real money conversation. And the topic for today was, do we need financial planning expertise? And just before we broke off, Gugu did a nice summary. She said, look, I'm the financial doctor. I will diagnose and I will prescribe. And I will give you a prescription, which she called a financial plan. And I think, you made it very clear. She gives you the prescription. And then the problem is you have been dealing maybe a lot of the time with people who come from the pharmacies, who have products. And without the script, you shouldn't really be subscribing to any product. Now, I liked what you mentioned in the previous segment, your relationship with your husband, Marinus, and how he has helped you to mold your money journey. How important is money discussions in a relationship?
Oh my word. I think the 2 times that Marinus and I, when our marriage nearly fell apart, was because of finances. I think I had maxed the credit card twice. He had paid it off twice. Then I maxed it again. And he was like, no, darling, I'm done. Like, I can't do this, So the truth is that I never had any financial background. So I grew up in a single parent home. And, my mom didn't have any money. It meant that in her bank account, there was nothing in her bank account. So I had this habit of using my money until there was nothing in my account. And my husband just didn't understand that. He was like, why shouldn't you leave money in your bank account? So that was the first thing that we had to work around. The second thing that we had to work around was when I ask him for money, he wants me to say how much I want and what I need it for. And that is also a bit of a challenge for me because I'm like, why should I tell you what I need it for? Why can't you just put money for me? So I did it this year. I asked him for money after he had told me very nicely to tell him how much I need. And he deposited R1. He EFT'd one rand into my account. And I tweeted about it. I was very upset. But, you know, behind the scenes, he said to me, honey, you can't just ask me for money
and not
define how much you need. Is it a rand? Is it 1,000 rand? Is it 10,000 rand? How much do you need? And why do you need it?
Okay, so the core area there you're talking about is around budgeting.
Yes.
And I think with you and Marinus, you're now seeing the integration of two cultural groups.
Completely different.
Because us as Black Africans, budgeting, all this stuff never used to happen.
Exactly.
Whereas he's coming from a background where he understands these things. You as a financial planner, Gugu, how do you assist your clients in getting more knowledgeable? Because sometimes, do you do financial education with your client or it's all about the money?
No, we actually do financial education with our clients. And from our financial education, like you're saying, Cindy, like he needs to know what you're spending your money on.
That doesn't make, but no, Gugu, like...
You definitely need to know where your money is going. You can't just take money and just put it there. No. There needs to be a boundary. Okay, it's in the spending on your clothes, but let's cut it off at this point. So we do have financial education. We do your budgeting for you. We look at your finances. What's your income? What are your expenses? Is this necessary at this point in time? No, let's move this money that you're using. Maybe you're spending too much on clothes. Let's move it to pay your debt. Let's move it to clear this so that you're in a better financial situation.
So are we going to have an Excel spreadsheet?
So
yes, it's more
no,
like
it's more than an Excel spreadsheet. They use software and things like
software
that. So at the end of the day, you can even help people get out of debt. But where I want to take it now is children. Your children are very close to your heart. How do you know you have enough for their future education if you say you do not have a financial planner? Have you thought about that and considered that?
That was ring fenced very quickly. That's why we have a trust. We have a trust fund.
So
he was. You know, I think after Marinus assessed me and realized that I'm an emotional spender, he picked that up very quickly. And I also I have a soft spot for very expensive handbags. So he realized, okay, if this is going to work and our kids are going to have a roof over their heads and food to eat once we are gone, we'll have to have a trust for the kids. So we have a trust for the kids, and it's been an interesting journey because opening a trust and the amount of paperwork that goes into it, I was never ready for any of that. If I had known what we're getting ourselves into, I might have backed out.
Okay, so you're saying you don't have a financial planner, but you use the financial planner and a lawyer to help you to set up the trust. So you had someone to get you going.
Yes.
But is it not important to regularly meet and talk to someone around your journey? Now, in terms of regularly meeting, Gugu, how often do you have regular meetings with clients just to check on how they're doing?
You see, so what I say to my clients is, I'm a call away. I'm literally a call away. If you have a financial problem and you want us to sit down and discuss, just call me. I'll be there for you. But usually after doing our financial analysis and everything like that, what I do is maybe after 6 months, we sit down, we see where you are. Life events change. Where you were 6 months ago, a year ago, is not where you are right now. So we literally sit down. Maybe you've had a baby. We now know that, okay, now that we need to consider a baby before you didn't have a baby. We now need to put this baby as well. So a year, 6 months to a year, we do a review, we look at it.
So you meet regularly?
Yes, we meet
Now let's go
regularly.
back to social media, because I like your social media trends. What stands out as one of the topics which came up on your thread around money? Which one really touched you and said, you know what, the people have issues with money?
Black tax.
Okay.
Black tax keeps coming up. You know, we've all been there. When I look at my debts, to be very honest, when I look at how I ended up in debt, a lot of it was black tax. And the thing is, I had lied to my husband. I hadn't told him that I was busy paying black tax until it was too late. And, you know, understandably, he couldn't understand why I keep sending money home on a monthly basis, because why am I sending money home? So there's also a cultural difference that we had to overcome. That, listen, this is what you do. When you start working, you send money home, or you help the next kid go to varsity or to school or whatever it is.
So how would you manage black tax with your client, Gugu?
You see, when it comes to black tax, it's hard for you to tell your parents that, you know what,
Exactly.
I'm not sending you
no
money.
matter how
That's what I
smart
say.
you are, educated you are, whatever it is, no, it's just...
So is there a financial plan to deal with black
but you
tax?
see, we do have like our relatives. You have to take the next person to school. You have to do this. But you can actually take care of that, Cindy. Instead of you giving them money every month, you spending money on it, start something for them. Start something small for them that's going to generate
what?
income. You can start, let's talk about a food truck. buy them a food truck that's going to be stationed where they sell from the tuck shop or anything like that. They sell food to the people. They get their own income. They don't have to depend
I
on you.
see.
You
So
start
this is like
something
buy
from
them a jumping castle
Yes.
or plates and stuff to rent out.
To
So you're
rent out,
almost
chairs.
empowering them.
I'd never
Empower
thought of
them.
that.
Give them. Don't keep sending money to them. And you see, when you start sending people money, they have certain expectations from you. And when you actually can't do it anymore, they still expect you to do it. So start something with them. Empower them. Let them do it on their own. Start something for them. Don't keep sending money to you.
Okay, so
Wow,
there we're
that's an
having that
idea.
conversation. Now, I'll go back to the children. School fees. Do you need a financial planner to help with school fees? Let's start with you. I mean, obviously, Cindy is unique. They've set up a trust with her husband, and it's a good thing that in their marriage, they talk money. We'll go on to that next question. But in terms of school fees and managing education, do people struggle?
People do struggle. You realize that people don't save up for their children when it comes to education. And then when the children have to go to varsity, we now have problems. You're now trying to get a bursary. Where is it something that you could have saved up towards before your child actually started school? And you also need to take into consideration, like I always say, that when you leave your kids, they should have something. They need to continue with school. Whether you like it or not, school is going to be present.
Yeah.
And Mr. G, you can walk out. Something happens to you. What's going to happen to your own children if you are not planning towards their
So
education?
if something happens to me, what am I supposed to do?
Your children should become.
And then where they're going to get the money?
They're going to. That's where it comes in. Invest
Okay.
in your children. Invest
Okay.
in your
So
children.
that's where the life policy, etc., would come in.
That all
Okay.
comes in now. If you had to get hit by a car, you die today. You need to know that, okay, I have life
God
cover.
forbid.
That's, God forbid, definitely. You need to know that there's life cover that's going to cover your children. They're going to continue
Okay.
with school. They're not going to suffer. They're not going to be a burden
So-
on someone else as well.
Okay, now back to children. Children are made by two people. Did you go through marriage counseling around money, Cindy? Because I think that's another important area where the financial planning professional is also a marriage counselor. Did you go through somebody who was a referee and say, if you want 4 children, this is the cost implication, or you were just lucky?
No, well, remember we signed an anti-nuptial contract, so we had someone talking to us about that because that was very difficult for me to work around. In terms of kids, look, he wanted 6 kids. I wanted 1. We ended up with 2. So I guess in his mind he prepared himself for 6 kids. To the conversation with the financial planner about kids, no, that didn't happen. But one thing we're very clear about is that we wanted a very good education, at least foundation phase education for our kids, and we're going to spend top dollar to make sure our kids got a very good grades R to grade 4 education. And they're in very good schools at the moment, very expensive schools, but they're in good schools.
Okay, so education sorted, insurance, if I die, something happens to me, sorted. I'm going to ask you a direct question, Cindy. Do you trust financial planning professionals?
Now that I know that they're not there to sell us products, yes, I do.
Okay.
Now that I know.
Okay, now you are the financial planning professional. Explain the difference between the salesperson, the advisor, the planner, and the wealth manager. I mean, these are the terms which Cindy has to deal with. What are the difference?
Okay. When it comes to a salesperson, I explained before that they are pushing a product. They are coming from the pharmacy to come give you something that it's based on that.
The advisor?
The advisor is someone who has they're a product expert. They know about a certain product. So they give you, they're giving you advice, but they're giving you the solution as
So
well.
they know this one drug and they're selling this drug.
Yes.
Okay. The planner?
The planner is now the person who gives you financial advice. They are there for you. They are your money doctor. They are your wealth doctor. They are your they're there for you for
Okay.
financial
And
well-being.
then wealth manager, is it beyond products?
Wealth manager is beyond product. We just don't end at this and this. We go beyond. We come with the budgeting. We come with everything else. We are there. We are literally your
Or invest in
money
this,
experts.
buy this,
Yes.
do this.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
We are your money experts.
So we've learned something,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think
definitely.
your trust is improving with regards to dealing with financial professionals. With your business, have you had any challenges where you've had to call on a professional? Because you're running a practice, but you're really a sole proprietor.
I've called on my friends who are also doctors running their own practices. Cash flow is my biggest challenge because the medical aids pay erratically, and so there are months when my debit orders have bounced. And the nice thing about having debit orders bounce is that I now know that the bank doesn't come hounding. They don't come running after you. They give you a grace period. As long as the money's paid in, eventually they're happy. So
Okay.
I'm very happy to have learned that.
So in business and in your personal affairs, Cindy is saying she might be relooking and rethinking the thought of having a financial planning professional. Just as a parting shot, Gugu, to the audience who is watching, should they engage with a financial planning professional, and why?
Definitely, they need to engage with a financial planning professional to help them with their finances, day-to-day spending. It helps them with their own incomes. It helps them so that they don't overspend on things that are not necessary.
And is it coming at a cost?
It does come at a cost.
Okay.
It does come at a cost. Just like our doctors, they need to be paid. They need to put food on their tables.
No, it's
as well.
important.
Yeah.
So you define yourself as the financial doctor. So we now invite you to send us your questions for future episodes, and you can send the questions to askgerald.co.za. That's askgerald.co.za. So thank you, Dr. Sindi, for coming and influencing the conversation, because I think it's important. What you do on social media is changing lives, and I think you also having a new understanding of the financial planning world or wealth management is helpful. And Gugu, thank you for coming to talk to us and explaining that I might not necessarily need to have an old financial planner. And we've reached the end of our show, unfortunately. Till next week, when we look at identity theft. If you want to keep up with this conversation, as we said, send your viewer questions. Askgerald.co.za. Thank you, ladies.